My name is Betty Shinn, Betty Mack Shinn, because I have to use my maiden name. And I am currently the chair of voter registration for the League of Women Voters.
I'm Loretta Green. I'm a native of Mobile. I was born in what we call I lived in what they call down the bay. I joined the Air Force in 1955. I did 4 years in the United States Air Force. Came back to Mobile. I worked at Brooklyn for about 6 or 7 years. Then I was 1965, I was the first person of color to work at Alabama Power on St. Joseph Street. A few years ago, I was looking through some of my belongings and I found my voter's certificate where we had to pay a poll tax in order to vote. And I found my poll tax from the original poll tax from 1960. I was exempt because I was a veteran, so I did not pay the poll tax, but I still had to have it to show it when I went to the polls. I thought, my goodness, I was just kind of amazed that I still had it. So I took it out and I started going to the polls with it. And I would go down the line and ask all the young people, do you know what this is? And they would look at me like, no. So I started explaining the history of poll tax and explaining to them that in 1960, it might have been $2, but people of color in those times was making $2 a week. We were not making any money. And $2 would pay your bills. So you had to make a choice. Do you pay to vote or do you feed your family?
Loretta, can I just interrupt you for a minute? When Kate brought this up,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm saying, well, how old was she? And then I thought about you couldn't have been that old
Mm-hmm.
because the Voting Rights Act wasn't passed until 1965.
Right.
So the last poll tax paid in Alabama was in 1966. And I think it was $1.63. It's the equivalent of $53 a day now.
Right.
What $53 would be. So if you had to pay $53 to vote and you're 18, if you're 88,
Right.
depending on what your income level is, that $53 is a lot of money.
Right. Look at back in those days, we weren't getting the kind of jobs that paid any money. You know, we were maids, whatever. I don't even think we could be a garbage collector in the 1960s.
Right.
You know, so we weren't getting paid any money. I mean, it may seem a little amount, but we weren't getting the jobs. So we were only getting the job that paid menial, you know. So that was a fact. Nobody else wanted. Right. We were out there trying to get registered, trying to vote. We wanted to vote. And some, made the sacrifice to pay the poll tax to vote. And I did, talk with my family and try to get them registered as well. But like I said, with everybody, it was a hardship. It was definitely a hardship. Some of them wasn't working, some of them was working part-time, work when you can, when you find a job. So it was it was voter suppression. You see things happening now that I would not have imagined would still be happening in 2023 to suppress the vote. It's still there. And like I said, after going through the 50s and the 60s and after the civil rights movement and all that, you would think that we would be further along than we are now.
It just reminds us of how the people my age, how far we have come and how far we have to go. We do what we do to help those that are coming after us, because I know I'm standing on the shoulders of some great people. I know the sacrifices that my grandmother made and that my mother made.
Tried to pass on the history. I talk to my grandkids. They know, and when they turn 18, they have to register to vote. It's not a will I know. No, it's not even optional. You registered to vote at 18. My daughter been going to the polls with me all her life, and she still comes and pick me up, and we go to the polls together. And she's 50. I drug her to the polls every time I went. I took her out of school. You going with me. You can't vote, but you going with me to see the process and to know the importance of it.
I do the same thing. That just let them see it in action.
Right. Read your history. Learn the importance of voting, what it means, and who came before you to make it possible for you to vote. But most of all, learn that what the importance of voting is.